So we get a lot of interesting stuff here at the shop. Not all of it is metalworking and fabrication. Some of it's just repair and trying to help people out. As one of my friends here on YouTube says, Tom up at Hilltop Machines Works, you know, I'm a hey man shop. My shop is the one where people go, hey man, can you do this or can you do that? Or hey man, you have a welder, can you fix this? Well, today's a hey man job, as Tom says, and trying to help out a friend of mine. So it deals with this air compressor right here. I've actually done quite a bit of work on air compressors here the last couple of weeks or months, but let me show you this one and we'll talk through it. All right, so this is my buddy's air compressor, and he's had it for several years. It's done a really good job. It's, you know, a box store brand. It is Porter Cable, and they do pretty good stuff from what I understand. Not sponsored by them, but, you know, I've got some Porter Cable stuff. So let's take a look at it. It is a 155 max pressure, 5.3 SCFM at 90 PSI, 1.6 horsepower, 30-gallon tank. So the problem he's having is that it'll run and run and run, but it's only building up about 5 PSI of pressure. We checked a couple of things out. First thing I did was plug it in. We ran it up. I put my own gauge in the output because I don't know if this gauge or this gauge are reading correctly. As it was running, again, we sprayed everything down with a soapy solution. We found no air bubbles anywhere in here. I even made sure to get those hard to reach hoses way back up in there, and no leaks. Come around, we sprayed all these fittings, the airline coming down here, sprayed all those fittings, sprayed in there, and all of this. The only leak we found was right in here around this regulator. So yeah, number one, the regulator is going to have to be replaced, but it wasn't enough to keep it at 5 PSI. So unfortunately, I think the pump on this is bad because the motor is running perfect and we have no problems with that. This is a 2-horse motor, and it's done a really good job. So we're going to leave it in place. And I started looking for a replacement pump for this, and I had a hard time finding one. They wanted $400 or $500 for just this component, and you can just about go buy a brand new one of these for that same amount of money. So that really wasn't a viable option. I've started disassembling it, taking the cage off and the pulley, starting to get ready to take the pulley off, because I did find a pump that matches this pump identically. It is by McGraw, and it's about $200. So lot better price range. And hopefully we can salvage this unit and make it a viable unit. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I did was I took this cage off. It was just a couple of screws that held it in, and then we took the belt off. Next thing we're going to do, and I probably should have done this before I took the belt off, but we're taking this screw off so that we can pull the pulley off, and that'll allow us to get the rest of the cage off. Oh, that's not tight anyway. That broke free way too easily. All right. All right. Let me kind of look at this and figure out how we're going to take it off, and I'll bring you back. Okay, so we got the pulley off. Nothing spectacular, just used a 3-jaw puller. And what I was able to do, whoop, if I can stop dropping tools, was just come through the fins, and my puller was narrow enough that I could grab it between 3 of the fins and it pulled right off. So, all right, I'm not gonna worry about pulling this pulley off. I'm just gonna get the fasteners out so that I can roll the cage out of the way, because that'll give us access to the pump without having to take a bunch of other stuff off. Okay, the pulley's off, the cage is off. We've disconnected the air line from right here. Next thing is to remove the 4 bolts and get the engine out of the way. Okay, should just be lifting the pump off. There we go. Okay, so you can see the pump's off, but I think before I put the new pump back on, I think I'm gonna clean all this up, wash it down real good, and yeah, make it look nicer. Okay. I think that looks much, much better. Yeah, we get a little bit of cleaner right there. I'll have to clean that up, but that looks much better. I even cleaned the tank up. So now, time to set the motor, or excuse me, the pump. Make sure everything matches up. Okay. So this pump should be a direct bolt up. Should match the existing holes. It does. All right. Rock and roll. All right, so now we'll connect the air lines up. We'll put the bolts in here to hold it down. And then we'll get the pulley on and we'll make sure it's in line with the pulley from the motor. Yeah, should be good to go. One thing I didn't do, these bolts, I didn't tighten them all the way down. I didn't like really crank on them, because I want to make sure that when I go to put the pulley on and align everything up, I've got some shimmy room to make sure everything fits. So that won't be done quite yet. Like I said, I want to make sure everything fits right and that we don't have any issues with fitment. All right. Okay, so we'll tighten this, put the guard back on, and then I think it's time to try to line our pulleys up. I'll bring you back in a minute. Okay, so the cage is back on. Now it's time to put the pulley on. And we're gonna just tap it on just a little. All right, and then we'll start eyeballing and using a straight edge to line these two up to make sure that they're traveling true, because we don't want the belt to walk off of it. So that's the next step. So I'm just putting the nut and washer on it just to hold it temporarily. Let me grab a straight edge. All right. So that actually looks really, really close. So I think we're going to tighten it down there. Belt's on. The next thing we're going to do is throw tools in the floor. No, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put some oil in the compressor. So we're fixing to start that. All right, here's the fill plug. And as you can see, the oil level is right in the center of that sight glass. All right, the next thing we're going to do is pull these caps, and we have the baffles or protectors to put over them, so we got to do those next. Here's the air filter assembly. It's just got a cap that comes off, the filter elements inside here, and then a stem that screws in. So we'll just screw those in and should be ready to test it. All right, so the last thing we're gonna do on this air compressor is, my buddy had all this jerry-rigged handle made on it so that he could wrap air hose around it and its cord and still be able to pull it around where he needed it. We're gonna remake that for him. So I've got some 3/4 inch solid bar. I'm heating it up in the forge. I've made a small little bending jig over here, and we're gonna bend him a new handle and then weld it in. There we go. Still a little hot, but I think that should work really well. I've got to let it cool, and then we'll come back in. We'll clean up around this area and weld it in. And then I've also got these pieces that will also weld. I'll cut them down, and they'll weld something like that so that he can, or probably, I don't know, probably like that. That way he can wrap his extension cord around one, and then the air hose will go around the other. I think that'll work. There it is, y'all. So, got the air compressor pump back on it. The handle we fabricated for it, and it's painted up. This one's ready to go back home. Well, that's another one. So it's in the books, and he can come get it. And hopefully it'll run for him for a long, long time. So yeah, on to the next project. Not really sure what that's going to be, but we'll find out. Thank y'all for following. Thank you to all the new subscribers. I think I'm up to like 1,360 subscribers now. That just absolutely baffles me. But thank y'all so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for the comments, the likes, the subscribes. Man, y'all are awesome. Thank y'all so much. We're looking at coming out with some more t-shirts and stickers and things this year. So please keep in mind for that. If you're interested in one, they're probably going to be around $20, but just let me know. God bless. Take care. I'll see you on the next one.